PEX piping.
Oh yeah.
Everybody know about PEX piping?
No, I only do because I just had to put it in my office.
Did you?
Remember the landlord guy who wouldn't let you do it, who thought he could do it himself?
They did the whole thing?
No.
Oh, so you're gonna find this relevant?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pet piping?
PEX.
Yes.
PEX. So, years ago, they used to plumb houses with galvanized pipe. And it was threaded joints. They actually used to plumb the house and then build the house around it. Because the pipe is just difficult, it's rigid. The joints are hard to put together, tape and dope and thread and lots of hard work. And then they transitioned to copper. I want to say in the 60s, I may be wrong about that, I wasn't around, but and then copper has been pretty relevant until about 15, 20 years ago. And so copper, there's three types of copper, type L, K, and M, KL and M, right? And that's the thickness of the wall, okay? So this, I think, yeah, this is M, so red is don't use, M is the thinner stuff. So you can use type M in houses, you cannot use it in commercial buildings. Type L, you use in commercial buildings, it's a thicker wall. And then type K is like,
on the ground.
You never use type K. I mean, I've seen type K once in my career, and it was like some wacky engineer for whatever reason. Anyway, so 30 to 50 years is life expectancy of copper. Okay, so like type M is typically 30 years, type L is typically 50. So in your home, if your home is 30 to 50 years old, and sometimes depending on the water conditions, the pipe will last longer. I mean, I have repiped a house that was like 60 years old or something. But the pipe wears from the inside, obviously, and obviously I'm winging this, so bear with me, but this is all going to be really amazing.
I wouldn't have to get all he is.
So the pipe wears from the inside out, right? So what happens, and Bob can attest to this, is you'll get a pinhole leak in the pipe, right? Which really sucks if the pipe is going through your crawl space and the pinhole is on the top, because then it shoots into your floor, and you don't know about it until your floor bows up like this, which I had a customer, and they ended up getting a whole remodel on the insurance company, But so oftentimes you'll get them pointed down, which is great. You'll get a leak. Sometimes PUD will call and they'll say, hey, your water's been running for 2 months. You need to have it checked out. They call the plumber, we come out, find the leak. You'll get one leak, you'll get 2 leaks, and that's usually when I'm telling you, hey, you want to start thinking about repiping this thing because, this is going to be the condition of the pipe all throughout the house, right? I guess for Michael to know, if you don't know already, signs of that is like discoloration. You'll see the copper will kind of turn pinkish. If you have a pinkish look on your pipe, then it's pretty thin. I had a house out in past Cedar Woolley. I don't even know what town it was out there. And as I was cutting the pipe to try and make this repair, it's like crumbling, like crumbling paper. It was so thin. And luckily, we were able to make the repair. And I told the guy, I was like, look, dude, you need to, the next repair may not be able to be made, so, you need to think about repiping this. He opted not to. Haven't heard back from him yet, but it's only been a couple weeks, so anyway, so that's kind of a brief history of copper. I'm going to pass this coupling around. The pipe is too long, but so basically the coupling just slides over the pipe, right? So to solder a joint, I'm going to show the benefits of PEX versus copper. So to solder a joint, you got to clean it off with sandpaper, get all the dirt off and everything, and you don't want to touch it. It's not as critical as some people make it sound. But, so once you clean it off, and then there's a flux material. Flux follows heat that the solder, and I didn't bring any of that, sorry. So this, let me find. Okay, so these, pay attention to the void inside of the solder. So this is a joint that I cut, it was a leaky joint, that I cut open and spread out, which is basically what you have in your hand. So I cut that open. I just cut this open this morning. I thought it was going to have a bigger void in it, and I was going to show you, but that was, so it's kind of a mystery why this was leaking, but anyway. So you sand the pipe, you apply the flux, you put the fitting on, you apply the heat, you apply the solder. It's a time-consuming process. It probably takes from start to finish to do 1 3/4 inch solder joint, maybe 10 minutes. Okay. and then, and then you do the whole system and you pressurize it and it's good. So I was passing this around to show that you can have a good joint with no leaks, and then a year or 2 or 3 later, a leak will pop up because you get a void in the solder joint that you can't see. And like I said, I was hoping that this was a leaky joint, and I thought I was going to have a big, massive void to show you, because no matter how good your workmanship, and it all comes from distribution of heat over the fitting. If you don't apply the heat right, then you get these voids, and you can't see them until a leak pops out, right? So you may get a leak, like I said. I mean, I've actually cut fittings out of houses during repipes that didn't have solder on them at all. But that was before they changed the flux, and the flux itself just held the joint together. Flux is different. It's a lot weaker today than it was then, so. But anyway, so copper is a time-consuming thing. You're dealing with the torch, you're dealing with getting burned. It's a lot more labor. And so PEX started coming around in the United States about 15 years ago when I first started plumbing. And the contractor that I was working for, I really talked him into trying this stuff because nobody else was doing it, So I've been using this stuff, specifically Wurzbo, which is a brand. This is a lot of information, but just to kind of get an idea, I'll pass that around to it. So I've been using this stuff for 15 years, right? And man, that was fast.
Yeah, I was like, better get going.
Okay, so PEX is a cross-linked polyethylene pipe. There's 2 different ways that they manufacture the cross-linked polyethylene. Okay, polyethylene is like just a type of plastic. The cross-link is the way that they manufacture it. One way that they manufacture it is cold fused. That might not be the right terminology. So cold fused pipe is like the stuff you're going to find in Home Depot. It's it's cheap. It's not great. It's PEX, and people sell it as PEX. Handyman will install it, and but it doesn't have the same properties that this does. And I'm not a scientist to describe it exactly, But this stuff will expand to like 3 times its size, right? Yeah. So when your water's in your pipe and it freezes, it will, and it's actually the way that you join the stuff. Okay. Jeez, man.
10 minutes goes quick.
I'm gonna pass those around. So, collar. There's this collar that's made out of the same material, okay? And then the pipe, and you just expand it. There's a little more going on than, That's it. So then the pipe goes back, and that's your seal.
Wow.
Right? So,
Way faster. No flame.
way faster, no flame,
no burning the house down.
Huh?
No, burning the house down.
Yeah, which happens. So notice, it's a 1960 fitting. They actually just started. Other manufacturers are starting to sell these yesterday, so it's like a big deal. The PEX world is just going crazy right now because they used to be opener only could sell these fittings because of their patent. Thanks. So the center line is the critical joint. The pipe goes back over that center rib, and I could go on and on about these fittings. They're absolute, just the best thing out there. I'm a union member in Seattle, and all these guys are like hardcore labor. I plumbed a school with PEX, and they were like, my company didn't. I was working for a company, and we plumbed a school with PEX, and they were absolutely livid because 2 guys did the work of 8 guys, right? So, but it's an infinitely better product. I'll say real quick, there's a test called the Spudvik test, and they run a high temperature, high velocity, heavy fluid through this pipe. They started it in 1973. I had the understanding that it was still running, but it's not. They stopped it. Yeah. So they run this test. They run the test through, and all piping material has gone through this test. So they run it until the pipe fails, and because of the high velocity and temperature and the thickness of the fluid, they have calculations to estimate the lifespan of the pipe. Once they broke 100 years, they just turned the test off, and there was no sign of wear on the pipe. Right. So I mean, you know, this stuff is going to be around.
Stuff here.
Right, yeah, and so the two names to look out for, I mean, if you're ever dealing with somebody, not, you know, besides me, Rahal and Opener, okay, the shark bite stuff the shark bite pipe, shark bite fittings are homeowners' best friends, right? And you'll never hear a plumber say that, so. But the shark bite pipe, there's Zernpex, there's, I don't even know how many, there's tons of PEX companies out there, and they're all using the Class B PEX. The cost is not that much different. I think the biggest expense is the tooling. I mean, this cost me $400. This one cost me $800. This will go up to 1.5 inch pipe. We can do 3-inch pipe now. It was 2, you know. So I mean, we're getting to a point where we're going to start plumbing high rises with this stuff, you know. And so I got a bunch more, but that's it.
Right on.
So,
Thanks, Mark. Good job.
That's good.